Hey, I want to talk about Call of Duty's HUD today. Can I do that? Will you guys let me? The HUD, or heads-up display for long, is this overlay that goes across your screen, giving you a heads up on things like ammo count, the map, and what your name is, for any schizophrenics out there. Now, I know you might be sitting there thinking that there's way bigger issues with the game right now, like those dreaded 4 letters that has had more time in the community spotlight than Ground War even existed, but I think that the HUD is a criminally underappreciated part of any game. It's like the bridge between the developers and you, like passing notes back and forth in class, quietly letting you know how many grenades that you have left, or man, you've gotta reload. And much like good sound design or even editing in a YouTube video, if it's good, you won't even notice that it's there. But today, I wanted to talk specifically about Black Ops 6 Zombies, which in particular has seen a bit of pushback from fans about the mode just not feeling right after a bunch of athletes, celebrities, and washed-up Warzone pros all got to play some of the new map Liberty Falls at CODNext the other week. Now, the biggest complaint that I saw was that the experience felt more like Warzone and less like a traditional Zombies experience. Another complaint, actually, that has also outlived Ground War in the community's lexicon, and I kind of agree with them. When cross-cutting between Liberty Falls and any of these old-school classic maps from years past, it's night and day. Literally, it's night and it's day. But here's the thing. I don't think that it's the map doing it, or at least not entirely. I think it's the HUD. I mean, look at this thing. It's almost exactly 1-to-1 what we would see in multiplayer, except a cat seems to have scratched the upper right of your cornea. But now contrast that with the kind of HUD that we would see on classics like Mob of the Dead, or Der Eisendrache, or even going all the way back to Knocked. No, Knocked. No, Knocked. God fucking Now, I'm not a game dev, and honestly, I'm not much of a graphic designer either. In fact, everything I've learned about either comes from the classic Control-Z shuffle. But I really wanted to see what this game would look like with a different HUD, so I think I'm just gonna make my own. But first, we gotta see exactly where we came from. So, let's do some research for a bit of inspiration. So I'm just gonna look up COD Black Ops 1 Zombies. Yeah, look at how simple this is. Literally all that you have is very, very minimal ammo counter here. A little blood splatter and your points. Over here, perks just kind of sit there year-round. It's clean, it's simple, it's non-intrusive. Let's check out Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2's insanely similar. In fact, the only real difference is I'm seeing the D-pad has kind of been replaced with a smaller kind of thing. Let's move on up to Black Ops 3 Zombies. I do really like the picture so that like you can quickly identify like what character you are. I feel like that's somewhat important in Zombies. Over here we have some kind of like, oh yeah, it's like a little light bulb, right? And I think that changes per map. Yeah, on these like more modern maps, it's kind of like a conduit that's like blasting out your ammo. It's a little odd, not gonna lie. So then of course would be Black Ops 4, but I want to look at some of the other zombies, like World War II zombies, for instance. Okay, so here we have a circle character. I don't know what these three, was there armor in World War II? Did I forget this? I assume this is an alt? Actually, shit, I don't know enough about this. Are these your perks? Why is one off? Hold on. Okay, yeah, no, perks are down there. Yeah, your lethals and tacticals just kind of listed right here. Name of the gun. Very, very simple stuff. Again, I think simplicity is the key. Let's try Zombies in Spaceland. So you have big card character. I like that. I think Advanced Warfare that I skipped, I think also has that. Money, tickets, very nice, very clean. You just have your lethal, your tactical. I haven't played enough IW Zombies. I assume this here is your alt, and this is some kind of like Gobblegum-esque like consumable. There are perks in the middle. I'm not a super fan of that, but it's all right, I guess. All right, now let's try Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 is kind of the opposite of BO3 in that I think no one likes this UI at all. Like, it's just ugly. You've got kind of like a big box around things. I don't know what this 2 is. I don't know if that's revives. It's a lot. It's a lot of like little pieces just kind of thrown around everywhere. I definitely don't like this, or at least I don't like the placement. Just like a big square block kind of in the middle of like your field of view there is a lot. Now for good measure, I'm gonna look up Cold War Zombies because it's the most similar in terms of like the elements that we need to make sure that we get in there. Here we have very, very streamlined. It's just money. We don't actually have salvage on this UI, which was a point that I don't know, like, I don't know why they didn't do that. You have a health bar and your HP. You can't really see, but down there a little bit, you get your name. I don't think you need to see your name in game. That's just me. Like, I know who I am. Placement wise, I think the rest of this over here is fine. It's just a little bit plain. It's definitely stylized, but it's stylized to like the campaign style, right? You got kind of that black marker kind of feel to it, you know, here with the gallow. I think this is the same as like multiplayer, right? Yeah, it's exactly the same. So I think that there's 2 takeaways here. For one, I think that less is more. Like BO4, for instance, I think it's just too much. You know, it's fucking crazy. But at the same time, we can't exactly go back to how things were in Black Ops 1 because there's a lot more to manage in modern zombies. You know, with armor, weapon rarities, this little select fire button that no one ever uses on purpose, etc. Which brings us to takeaway 2, and that's that it has to actually be functional. We can't just remove all of these items and call it a day. And for what it's worth, I think Cold War actually excelled pretty well with this. You know, you look at this UI, and while it isn't, you know, exactly zombies, it is clear what you have and what you don't have. So the idea would be to take the stylization of like BO4 or BO3 and just kind of apply it to what we have currently. I think that's the play. Okay, I'm gonna get started on this thing. So what we've done here is I've recreated the HUD in Photoshop in a way that I can actually physically edit it. Brought in some gobblegums to just shove over here for now. I even cut out Peck because I think we're gonna use this element as like our starter. I also found a couple of fonts I want to see about using maybe. And then this wasn't actually part of this like image, but from watching gameplay of Liberty Falls, this seems to be kind of what the like objective text is like. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start a timer for 1 hour, and we're just gonna see what we can make. Now I'm gonna spare you the full hour of me trying to figure out how to use Photoshop and just fast forward through most of this quick. But I'm also gonna throw up an extended version of this video for channel members with a bunch of this in here. So if you're curious what the actual process was like, then hit that join button down below to help support the channel and also see how many times I forgot about the self-revive icon. And just like that, our allotted 1 hour was over. As you can see, I kind of went for a BO2 blood splatter vibe, because one thing that really irked me about the original is that everything here is just super clean, but then you have they kept the tallies that don't fit that aesthetic at all. So I figured that we would keep it because it is so iconic, and instead update the rest of the HUD to kind of match. Now, a big part of it was just adding a little bit of grit to it, a little bit of grime, some kind of texture, you know? Something to really put it into the world. Okay, now let's go corner by corner and kind of cover this. Down here in the bottom left, the idea was to create kind of a dashboard of sorts. Something that the player just has to look at this one spot and tells you everything that you need to know about what you need to micromanage in this game. You got your points, you got your salvage, armor, your perks nice and neat down below it. Even threw in self-revives right here as well with nice little tallies telling you how many that you have. And I also added in a character card. Now, I know that Peck isn't necessarily a playable character, but he's the guy that I had the asset ready for, so I threw him down in here. Something to help you feel like you're playing zombies, right? Because when you're running around, you're hearing this guy talk, you want to have that connection to the world a little bit more. And then I think for health, I removed the traditional bar, and I think instead this kind of piece here that I totally didn't borrow from the radio in Cold War. We're just going to use this, I think, for health. And because it's on the character card here, it kind of I think helps subliminally be like, oh, this guy has this much health. You know what I mean? And then over here on the bottom right is all of your equipment, all of your weapons, kill streaks, field upgrade, gobblegums, all in this corner. This is all your firepower. And now you'll notice that I kind of kept the ammo counter more or less the same. And that's because, like, even though it is in Warzone, like, I don't think we need to necessarily throw everything out of the, like, normal HUD to create something new. Like, we don't need to overthink everything, right? I did, however, change up the font to give it something a little bit more in that zombie horror vibe. And I added a bit of that grime and blood splatter on top of it. Again, just grounding it in the world a little bit. For equipment, I went with just, like, straight up pictures of the equipment. And that's to kind of create the vibe that we just picked these things up off the ground. You know, they're just chilling in the backpack, ready to be thrown. And then for gobblegums, I really just killed the big box that was around them to, again, add to the idea that everything that you pick up is just rolling around your character's pockets. That's the aesthetic, the vibe that I'm going for here. It's dirty, it's dingy, it smells bad. If you scratch yourself on something, you're gonna want to get a tetanus shot. That kind of feel. And then lastly is upper left, where I left the mini-map mostly the same, with the exception of perks. I went ahead and added the actual perk color onto them on the mini-map. And then for the objective marker, I just swapped the font out for something that fits the vibe a little bit more, replaced the kind of standard gradient with a blood splatter again, and changed this icon to yellow so that it contrasted a little bit more. I think that's about everything. So let's go ahead and see it in motion now. I think this looks pretty good, especially for being made in about an hour by this fucking idiot. Let me know what you guys think. Is this good? Did I fix it? Did I ruin it? I mean, you know, you can tell me if I ruined it. You know, I won't cry that much. Real quick shout out to all of our channel members, especially Gordorokos, Unicy Helljumper, and Shane M up at the top tier. If you want to become a channel member and watch that extended cut of this video that I mentioned before, as well as a bunch of other cool perks, and help support the channel that you love, hit that join button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. I don't know. I don't do these because I'm bad at them. But add to your watch later?